Hello there, dear friend. Let's begin with a picture. It's early morning. The sun is gentle, not yet hot. A quiet breeze moves the leaves just enough to make them shimmer. You've got your favorite mug of tea warming your hands, and before you, your little garden sanctuary. Maybe it's a front porch, maybe just a few potted plants along a sunny fence. Maybe you've got more weeds than roses, but something about it still feels like home. There's a comfort to this space. Not because it's expensive or grand, but because it's yours. And here's the truth I want to share with you this morning. You don't need a big budget or a young back to create something beautiful. You just need a touch of imagination, and maybe a little visit to the Dollar Tree. You see, I've learned something in all my years of digging in the dirt, trimming vines, and finding joy in the smallest blossoms. The most meaningful garden touches rarely come from fancy catalogs or pricey stores. They come from creativity, repurposed odds and ends, and the delight of turning something simple into something soulful. So today, we're going to take a gentle walk through 30 easy summer garden decor ideas, each made with Dollar Tree treasures, each one full of charm, color, and life. These ideas are more than crafts. They're little invitations to make your space your own. They're proof that beauty is not about money, it's about care. Whether you're looking to brighten a small patio, dress up a balcony, or transform a forgotten corner of your yard, you'll find something here that speaks to your heart. And don't worry, every idea is senior-friendly budget-wise and full of warmth. So, pull up a chair, let the light come in, let's make your garden into a story worth smiling at. Remember those little solar lights that became popular years ago? Maybe you've picked up a few over time, simple, plastic, practical. They work fine, but let's be honest. They don't exactly make your heart skip a beat when you see them in the garden. But here's the fun part. With just a couple of ribbons and a few faux flowers, those plain solar stakes can turn into something truly charming. Start by choosing your color scheme. If you love a farmhouse, go with burlap and soft cream-colored florals. For something a little more whimsical, satin ribbon in lavender or rose pink works beautifully. And if your taste leans a bit modern, try metallic ribbons in bronze or silver. Now take your Dollar Tree solar light. Give it a quick wipe down with rubbing alcohol to remove any dust. Starting at the base, gently spiral your ribbon upward, securing it with a dab of hot glue every few inches. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, a little imperfection adds to the charm. Once the ribbon is in place, tuck in tiny faux flower heads at those glue points. Just one or two is enough to make it feel thoughtful and styled. Line these along your garden path or circle them around a favorite planter. During the day, they'll catch the light with their texture and softness. At night, when the sun sets, they'll come alive with that gentle glow we all love. The best part, you've just created a look that would cost $15.25 per light at a garden boutique, but yours cost around $2.50. And more importantly, it carries your personal touch. It's funny how a bit of ribbon and a glue stick can turn something forgettable into something worth admiring. Like many things in life, it only takes a little care to feel brand new again. Still useful just like us. Do you remember the sound of old silverware clinking in a drawer? The kind that came from a grandmother's kitchen or your first apartment? Well, it turns out those old spoons, even the mismatched ones from thrift stores or yard sales, still have stories to tell. Especially in the garden. Today, we're giving humble metal spoons a new purpose as charming garden markers. They're simple, sturdy, and easy to see, a perfect DIY for anyone who wants something both practical and nostalgic. Start by gathering your spoons. Stainless steel ones work best. Give them a good cleaning, especially if they've been in storage. Rubbing alcohol or vinegar will help remove any residue and prepare the surface for painting. Once dry, apply a coat of chalkboard paint to the rounded bowl of the spoon. Let it dry fully, then add a second coat to make sure it's dark and smooth. Once the surface is ready, use a chalk marker, which you can also find at the Dollar Tree, to write the name of each plant: basil, thyme, lavender, tomatoes. You can even add a little heart or flourish if you're feeling artistic. And don't worry if you ever need to relabel, just wipe it clean and start again. Push the spoon handles directly into the soil handle down so the painted top peeks out above your herbs or vegetables. They're easy to spot even for aging eyes, and they won't blow away in the wind like plastic tags often do. What's lovely about this idea is that it turns a functional need into a piece of garden personality. It's not just a label, it's a touch of memory and care. A reminder that even old things once forgotten in drawers or donation boxes still have purpose and beauty when seen in a new light. Cost-wise, this project is remarkably affordable. 10 spoons might run you $1.25 at a thrift shop, or even less if you already have them. Add another $1.25 for the chalkboard paint and $1.25 for the chalk marker, and you're at just under $4 total, enough to mark your entire garden. But the real value isn't in the money saved. It's in the feeling you get when you walk through your garden and see those little spoons standing proudly, names written in your own handwriting. It's personal, peaceful, a bit poetic. And like many of us, those spoons are sturdy, seasoned, and still serving just in a new way. There's something enchanting about twilight in the garden. When the light softens and the day exhales, even the simplest yard becomes a stage for little wonders. And what better way to welcome that hour than with a few softly glowing fairy lanterns? This idea starts with something you may already have: mason jars. But if not, you can find them or similar glass jars at the Dollar Tree, often in packs. You'll also need a roll of twine, a few artificial flowers, and a set of battery-operated tea lights. Begin by cleaning the jars well so the glass sparkles when the light flickers. Now take your twine and wrap it gently around the top rim of each jar. Leave a loop of twine above the rim so you can hang the jar like a lantern. You can make the loop braided for extra strength, or just tie a strong double knot. Once the twine is secure, tuck in a couple of small faux flower heads right under the rim. Lavender daisy or tiny wildflower blooms all look lovely and soft. Next, drop a battery-powered tea light into the jar. When it turns on, the glow bounces off the glass and dances with the petals you've placed around the rim. It's not just light, it's atmosphere. It's warmth. You can hang these fairy lanterns from tree branches, shepherd hooks, the edges of a pergola, or even nails along a fence. For safety, especially around children or pets, these flameless candles are a perfect alternative to real ones. And because they're battery-operated, you won't need an outlet nearby or worry about a breeze snuffing them out. Want to vary the look? Try mixing jar sizes: wide mouth for a brighter glow, tall ones for elegance. Some folks even paint the bottom halves with frosted spray for a dreamy, diffused light effect. It's hard to describe just how peaceful these lanterns feel until you've sat outside with them one quiet evening. They don't just light your space, they soothe it. The full cost? Likely under $5 for a few. But the feeling they bring, sitting with a cup of tea, listening to crickets, watching your garden twinkle like a scene from a bedtime story, that's priceless. Because sometimes, dear friend, the magic we seek doesn't come from far away. It comes from within a little jar lit by your own hands, glowing with gentle joy. Do you remember those pinwheels from childhood? The ones that spun wildly in the summer breeze, bringing color and motion to the yard? There's still something so joyful about watching something turn gently in the wind. And in your garden today, you can capture that same magic, only this time with a touch more elegance and creativity. With just a few plastic plates from Dollar Tree, a bit of paint, and a little time, you can create your own kinetic garden sculptures, wind spinners that move with grace and color every time the breeze passes through. Start by selecting your plates. Flat, lightweight plastic ones work best, and Dollar Tree has them in every size and shade you can imagine. You'll need a drill for this one, or someone to help if you don't have the grip strength. Drill a small hole right in the center of each plate. This will allow them to spin smoothly once mounted. Next, the fun begins: painting. Use weather-resistant acrylic or spray paints to add stripes, spirals, dots, or even a faux marble effect. You can use painter's tape to create clean lines, or stencils for floral or geometric patterns. Don't be afraid to mix bold and pastel tones. This is your chance to make something that sings in color. Once painted and dry, insert a small ball bearing or washer into the center hole for smoother spinning. Then attach each plate to the end of a thin dowel or metal rod, using a nut and bolt system that allows it to move freely. You can find simple kits at most hardware stores, or repurpose small screws and washers from old tools or toys. Plant the dowels into the ground or in large flower pots. Try layering multiple plates on different rods at varying heights and angles. This creates a truly artistic display that looks like sculptural garden art. On windy days, you'll see them whirl and shimmer, catching the sun like little dancers. Not only do they add life and movement, but they also become conversation starters. Most people won't believe you made them yourself, let alone for just a few dollars each. And here's a lovely little bonus. Even on still days, the painted designs shine like cheerful blooms frozen mid-spin. There's poetry in that, a sense of gentle motion, even in rest. With just a few plates and your imagination, you've created a garden element that brings delight with every gust of wind. And like all the best things in life, it didn't cost much. Just a bit of effort, a bit of joy, and your unique touch. Do you have one of those wire hanging baskets that's been around for years? Maybe a little rusty, a little forgotten. Don't toss it out just yet. With a scrap of fabric and a strip of lace, that plain old basket can become one of the prettiest pieces in your entire garden. This transformation is both simple and surprisingly elegant. You'll need a hanging basket, new or old, some burlap or canvas, a glue gun, and a bit of lace trim, all easily found at Dollar Tree or tucked away in your craft bin. Start by measuring the circumference and height of your basket. Cut a strip of your chosen fabric, burlap for a rustic farmhouse look or canvas for a clean modern style, and wrap it around the outside of the basket. Secure it with hot glue, folding the top edge neatly over the rim for a tidy finish. Don't worry if the weave isn't perfect. A little unevenness gives it that handmade charm. Now for the lace. Run a strip around the top edge of the fabric, securing it in place with glue. This single touch instantly elevates the look from ordinary to boutique. If you're feeling adventurous, you can even add small bows, buttons, or seasonal accents like faux flowers or mini pumpkins, depending on the time of year. Change the fabric and trim seasonally to keep things fresh, soft pastels in spring, sunflower yellows, or bright blues in summer, deep reds and oranges in fall, even evergreen and silver in winter. It's an easy swap, and since you're not using much material, it costs almost nothing. What's beautiful about this project is that it gives new life to something you already have. And for many of us, that's the true heart of gardening, not just planting things, but reimagining them. Just like we do with old chairs, forgotten corners, or even quiet seasons of life. Once your basket is dressed up, fill it with trailing blooms like petunias, ivy, or fuchsia. Hang it from a porch beam or shepherd's hook, and watch how the fabric dances with the breeze. The plants will spill over the sides like a waterfall of color framed by the texture of fabric and lace. Guests will admire your garden and wonder where you bought such a stylish piece. And you'll smile knowing you made it yourself for just a few dollars. Because sometimes beauty is just a scrap of fabric away, and a little care, like a little lace, makes all the difference. Have you ever wished for more space in your garden? Maybe your patio is small, or your back aches at the thought of bending and digging. Here's a clever little secret: height can be just as powerful as width in a garden, and often more eye-catching. Let me introduce you to the tiered pot tower. It's a garden in the sky built with simple Dollar Tree planters, a few wooden dowels, and a bit of balance. To begin, choose 3 pots in graduated sizes, small, medium, and large. Plastic ones work best because they're lightweight and easy to move. In your largest pot, add soil about 3/4 of the way up. Then insert 3 wooden dowels about 6 to 8 inches deep into the soil, spaced evenly in a triangle. These will act as supports for the second pot. Next, take your medium pot and carefully slide it onto the dowels, so it rests above the first, supported securely. Fill that with soil as well, and repeat the process with the smallest pot at the very top. Make sure everything feels stable. It should look like a gentle staircase rising toward the sky. Now comes the planting fun. At the top, choose upright flowers like geraniums, marigolds, or even small herbs. In the middle, go for something colorful and compact: zinnias, snapdragons, or begonias. At the base, let trailing plants like ivy, sweet potato vine, or lobelia spill over the edges in graceful drapes of green and bloom. What you've created is a multi-level masterpiece, a vertical display of texture, height, and color that draws the eye upward and makes even the smallest garden feel grand. And the best part, it's all within easy reach. No kneeling, no digging. Just watering, admiring, and maybe giving the occasional blossom a loving touch. This kind of project doesn't just save space, it also saves money. You'll likely spend less than $5 total compared to $40 or more for store-bought towers. And because you built it yourself, you can customize every part, from the plant colors to the pot textures to the height that works best for you. It's a little architectural, a little whimsical, and completely personal. Like the chapters of our own lives, each layer of the tower has something different to offer. But together they form something truly beautiful, something only you could create. There's a quiet kind of joy in walking through a garden path you made with your own hands. One step at a time, it tells a story. And with mosaic stepping stones made from broken bits of old ceramic, that story becomes colorful, personal, and delightfully imperfect, just like life itself. You don't need expensive supplies or special skills for this project. All you need are a few concrete pavers, some chipped plates or mugs, outdoor grout, and a bit of patience. You can often find mismatched ceramic dishes at thrift stores or use any broken ones you already have. Start by wrapping your ceramic pieces in an old towel, then gently tap them with a hammer to create irregular, jagged shapes. Safety first, wear gloves and glasses and go slowly. Lay the pieces out on your pavers to get a sense of your design. You can create spirals, flowers, or even just a joyful abstract scattering of color. Once you're happy with your layout, use strong outdoor adhesive to glue each piece in place. Leave about a 1/4-inch gap between fragments for the grout. Let it all dry overnight. Next, spread outdoor grout across the surface using a gloved hand or plastic spatula to push it into every nook. Wipe away the excess with a damp sponge, being careful not to disturb your delicate mosaic. Let it cure according to the instructions, usually a day or two, and then your stepping stones are ready to shine. Choose your grout color carefully. Light grout will make the colors of your ceramic pieces pop, while dark grout creates a more sophisticated, earthy look. Either way, the final result will look like something you'd find in a high-end garden center, only you made it for less than $2 per stone. Scatter these stones through a grassy path, line them along the edge of a flower bed, or place a few near your favorite bench. Wherever they go, they'll catch the light and your attention. What's most beautiful about these stepping stones is that they're made from pieces broken, scattered, and rearranged into something stronger, brighter, and more lasting. A perfect metaphor, don't you think? In the garden, as in life, nothing has to be perfect to be meaningful. Some of the most treasured things begin as fragments, and with a little love, they become the path that leads us forward. There's something deeply satisfying about structure in a garden, not just in the tidy rows or the rising stems, but in the design itself. A trellis brings both purpose and elegance, giving climbing plants a graceful place to grow. And the best part, you can make one that looks like modern sculpture with just wooden dowels, zip ties, and a can of spray paint. This project is especially friendly for those of us who prefer not to dig or lift too much. It's lightweight, easy to assemble on a tabletop or patio, and requires no heavy tools. Start with your wooden dowels. Long barbecue skewers can work for small spaces, or you can use broom handles or garden stakes for larger pieces. Lay them out on the ground or a table to sketch your design. Diamonds for a classic look, squares for a modern feel, or chevron patterns if you want a touch of flair. There's no right or wrong way to do it, just let your imagination guide you. Next, use zip ties to fasten the intersections. Pull each one snug and snip off the excess. This process is simple but can feel like a quiet, meditative rhythm. Build, tie, trim. It's the kind of task that feels good in the hands and even better in the mind. Once your frame is complete, spray it with weather-resistant paint. Deep green blends with foliage. Black offers contrast and elegance. Or try a metallic bronze or silver for something a little glamorous. The paint not only protects the wood, but also gives your trellis a polished, intentional look. Let it dry completely before placing it in the garden. You can anchor it in a large planter or gently press it into the soil along a wall or fence. Then plant something, climbing sweet peas, morning glories, clematis, or even cherry tomatoes. Over time, the plants will weave themselves through your design, following the lines you set in place. It becomes a living artwork, always changing, always growing. The total cost, just a few dollars. But the result, a structure that looks custom designed, like something from a high-end garden magazine. And because you built it yourself, it carries your style, your care, your creative fingerprint. As you watch your plants climb higher each week, you'll be reminded that beauty often comes from giving something or someone a strong, gentle place to grow. Just like this trellis, we all flourish when supported. Now here's an idea that feels like something out of a fairy tale: flowers that float in midair, catching the sun and the breeze like they're suspended by magic. But there's no trick here, Just a bit of fishing line, a few clear containers, and your imagination. This floating flower illusion is a beautiful way to bring soft movement and unexpected charm to your garden or patio. And the best part, it requires no bending, no digging, and very little cost. Start by collecting a few clear plastic or glass containers. You can use vases, jars, or even the acrylic storage cylinders often found at Dollar Tree. The key is that they be tall enough to hold some weight and narrow enough to concentrate the visual effect. Next, gather artificial flowers, silk blossoms in your favorite shades. Go for light blooms like daisies, lavender sprigs, or cherry blossoms. You want something that dances gently when touched by air. Now here's where the magic comes in: fishing line. Choose the thinnest you can find. A 4-pound test line works beautifully because it's almost invisible to the eye. Using a needle or glue, attach small clusters of your artificial blooms to pieces of fishing line, each spaced about 6 to 8 inches apart. The goal is to make it look like the flowers are floating up or down through the container. To keep everything in place, tie or tape the top end of each line to the underside of the jar's lid or rim, and then anchor the bottom end using small rocks, aquarium gravel, or decorative pebbles. This will keep the line taut and the flowers from drifting too far to the sides. Arrange several of these containers in a group. Odd numbers work best for natural visual balance. You might place 3 along your porch rail or 5 near a walkway. As the sunlight filters through, it will catch the petals and the glass, creating dancing shadows and shimmering reflections. It's peaceful, mesmerizing even. And while they look delicate, these displays are weather-friendly and easily refreshed. You can swap out the flowers with seasonal colors: white and blush in spring, bold sunflowers in summer, deep burgundy in fall, and silver or blue for winter. What you've created isn't just decoration, it's a moment. A soft whisper of beauty that makes people pause. That reminds us we don't always need bold or bright to make something wonderful. Sometimes the quiet things speak the loudest. In a world that moves fast, floating flowers ask us to slow down and simply enjoy the view. There's something grounding about stones in a garden. They offer contrast, calm, and a kind of quiet strength that balances all the softness of flowers and leaves. But smooth, polished river stones, the kind you see in designer gardens, can cost a small fortune. Luckily, there's a peaceful little trick that brings the same look for just a few dollars. All it takes is a handful of ordinary rocks, a bit of spray paint, and your own gentle touch. Begin by gathering rocks of different sizes. You can find them in your yard, at a nearby park, or even purchase bags of them from the Dollar Tree. Look for stones that are smooth and rounded, like the kind you might see lining a stream. Clean them thoroughly with warm water and a little dish soap, scrubbing off any dirt or moss. Let them dry in the sun. Now for the magic stone texture spray paint. This special paint has a finish that mimics real stone with just enough grain to catch the light and feel authentic. You can find it at hardware stores or online in shades like granite gray, river beige, or charcoal. Lay your stones out on a protected surface like cardboard or an old drop cloth. Spray light even coats, not too heavy. Let the paint dry completely between coats to avoid drips. You'll be amazed how each rock transforms from dusty or dull to something that looks like it was plucked from a designer showroom. Once they're dry, it's time to arrange them. Place large rocks at corners or anchor points like beside a bench or bird bath. Use medium stones to create flow and smaller ones to fill in gaps. You can create full paths, Zen-style spirals, or little rock islands nestled among your plants. To soften the look, tuck in patches of moss succulents or creeping thyme around the edges. Add a solar lantern nearby, and suddenly you've created a peaceful nook, perfect for thinking, resting, or simply watching the sun drift across the sky. What's beautiful about this project is its stillness. These stones don't bloom or sway or change color, but they offer a kind of presence, a feeling of calm and quiet dignity. And perhaps that's what makes them feel so right in a senior's garden, like old friends, smooth and strong, having weathered the years with grace. They're not flashy, but they belong, just like us. There's a certain magic that happens when the sun goes down and soft lights begin to glow in the garden. It turns even the simplest space into a gentle, inviting place, one that makes you want to linger just a little longer. And with a few shepherd's hooks and battery-powered string lights, you can create your very own canopy of warmth and wonder. This idea is especially perfect for patios, porches, or cozy garden corners where you enjoy an evening cup of tea or the quiet company of stars. Start with 5 to 7 shepherd hooks, the kind sold at Dollar Tree or garden centers. Space them evenly around your seating area, about 6 to 8 feet apart depending on your layout. They don't need to be buried deep, just pressed firmly into the soil or placed in heavy planters for balance. Next, take a strand or two of battery-powered string lights. Choose warm white for a romantic glow, or go with soft pastels if you want a touch of whimsy. Begin by attaching one end of the lights to the first hook, then drape them loosely from one to the next, creating gentle curves instead of straight lines. Let the lights dip and swoop like garland. That soft curve is part of the charm. It adds movement and elegance. Now here's where you can make it truly special. Weave a few artificial greenery vines through the light strands for a fuller, lusher look. You could even add small faux blooms or ribbons tied at intervals for seasonal color. Think lavender in spring, sunflowers in summer, or mini leaves in fall. Because the lights are battery-powered, there's no need for outdoor outlets or messy extension cords. That makes this project especially accessible. No bending to plug things in, no tripping hazards. And you can place your light canopy wherever you like, even in areas with no electricity at all. When the sun sets and those lights begin to glow, your entire garden takes on a new life. It becomes a gathering space, a reading nook, or just a quiet little world of your own. The gentle light draws you in and keeps you there calm and content. This kind of lighting doesn't just brighten a space. It softens it. It says, "You're home. You're safe. Stay a while." And the best part, you've created that feeling with less than 10 and a handful of simple materials. No big budget, no stress, just light love and a little imagination. Because beauty, especially the quiet kind, doesn't cost much at all. Imagine walking through your garden just after dusk. The sky is still glowing from the last light of day. And tucked between your flowers are tiny glowing orbs like gentle stars that have come down to rest for the night. That's the quiet magic of garden globe clusters. Soft, elegant, and beautifully simple to make. For this project, you'll need 3 things: clear plastic ornaments, the kind used for holiday crafts, battery-powered string lights, and garden stakes. All of these can be found at Dollar Tree or any local craft store. Begin by choosing your ornaments. The larger the better. 4-inch diameter globes work wonderfully for this. If they come in 2 halves, gently open them and feed in the string lights. Try to distribute the bulbs evenly inside the globe, creating a soft, scattered sparkle. A small twist of floral wire or tape can help secure the lights inside if needed. Close the globe carefully and make sure it's secure. Now take a simple garden stake or wooden dowel and attach the globe to the top using strong glue or zip ties. If you're using multiple globes, vary the stake heights, 1 low, 1 mid, 1 tall, to create a layered, natural display that pleases the eye. Cluster the stakes in odd numbers, 3s or 5s, work beautifully, and press them gently into the soil among your favorite plants. Around a flower bed, by your patio steps, or tucked beneath a tree are all perfect spots. As evening falls, your glowing orbs will come alive, casting a soft, magical light that seems to hover just above the ground. If you want to take it a step further, try lightly frosting the inside of the globes with translucent spray paint before inserting the lights. This diffuses the glow, making each orb look like a moonlit pearl. Or use colored lights, soft pinks, blues, or warm amber for different moods throughout the seasons. What's truly special about these garden globes is how they blend elegance with whimsy. They're not bold or flashy. They whisper. They invite you in. They make the most ordinary corners feel intentional, enchanted, like something out of a dream. And the cost? Just a few dollars per globe. But the peace they bring on a summer night, the way they turn your garden into a glowing haven, that's something you can't buy. So go ahead, dear friend, place a little starlight among your roses. You've earned it. Is there anything more soothing than the sound of gently bubbling water? It calms the mind, masks neighborhood noise, and draws birds and butterflies to your garden like a welcome invitation. But you don't need a pond or a big fountain kit to enjoy this luxury. You can make your own miniature water feature with just a decorative bowl, a small pump, and a few LED lights, all on a budget. Start with a sturdy bowl or wide planter from the Dollar Tree. Look for one that's at least 12 inches across and about 6 inches deep. Plastic is lightweight and easy to work with, but ceramic or metal bowls add a more polished feel if you already have one on hand. Make sure it can hold water without leaking. Next, you'll need a small fountain pump. Battery-powered versions or solar ones are great options if you want to avoid cords or electrical work. Place the pump in the center of the bowl and fill with water until it just covers the base. Add a few flat stones or marbles around the pump to hold it in place and create a natural look. Now for the ambience waterproof LED lights. You can tuck them among the stones or place them around the edges of the bowl. Some lights even change color slowly, casting a soft rainbow across the moving water. Blue tones add a feeling of cool serenity, while amber or white creates a warm, welcoming glow. If you'd like, you can float a few silk flower heads on top of the water lilies, lotus blooms, or even hydrangea petals. It adds a romantic, tranquil effect that feels far more expensive than it is. Set your finished fountain bowl on a small side table, a garden stand, or nestled into a planter bed. Anywhere you spend time relaxing near a chair by the back door or in a shaded reading nook becomes instantly more peaceful. And the sound, a soft trickle like nature's lullaby. It's just enough to bring presence to the space without overwhelming it. The movement also keeps mosquitoes away and attracts small birds looking for a gentle sip or splash. All in all, you've created a miniature oasis, a little retreat that feels like a luxury spa tucked right into your own garden. And for under $10, it's proof that serenity doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Because the most beautiful spaces aren't always the grandest. They're the ones filled with intention, comfort, and that subtle sound of water reminding us to breathe a little slower. Sometimes the smallest touches make the biggest difference, like knowing exactly where to step on a moonless night. Pathway lights are one of those little luxuries that make a garden feel welcoming and safe. But what if you could create them yourself for just a few dollars? And make them look like something out of a landscape designer's portfolio. With solar stake lights, PVC pipe, and a roll of reflective tape, you can craft beautiful functional garden lighting that glows softly by night and gleams stylishly by day. Let's begin with the PVC. Pick up a length of standard white PVC pipe from your local hardware store, or even better, use offcuts you may already have in the garage. Cut the pipe into 6-inch segments. A simple handsaw will do the job, or many stores will cut it for you if you ask. Next, choose a spray paint that matches your garden aesthetic, deep green to blend with foliage, bronze or black for elegance, or even a bright accent color for fun. Lightly sand the outside of each pipe to help the paint stick, then give them 2 even coats. Let them dry thoroughly before continuing. Once painted, wrap a strip of reflective tape around the bottom of each pipe. This not only adds a polished design detail, but also increases visibility at night, especially helpful for seniors or guests who may have trouble seeing in low light. Now insert a Dollar Tree solar stake light into each pipe segment, securing it with glue if needed. The pipe acts as a sleeve, giving height, color, and design to an otherwise basic light. Push the base into the ground alongside your walkway, lining each side evenly for a sense of order and calm. As night falls, your pathway will gently come to life, not harsh or glaring, but soft and steady. The reflective tape catches stray light from the lamps or moon, making the edges of the path even more visible. You've created not just lighting, but atmosphere. This project costs less than $1.50 per light and can be done in an afternoon. But the sense of peace it brings that lasts long after the sun goes down. Gardens aren't just about plants. They're about how we move through them, how we feel inside them. And with each glowing step, your path reminds you here is a place of care. A place made not with money, but with heart. Because when we light the path for ourselves and others, we do more than guide feet, we guide peace. There's a reason we're drawn to lanterns, especially the paper kind. Their light is air, soft and glow, and somehow always feel like they've floated down from some distant celebration. And the best part, you can bring that same dreamy feeling to your own backyard with just a few dollars and a little creativity. Paper lanterns are easy to find at Dollar Tree in a variety of colors and sizes. Choose shades that match your garden's mood, gentle pastels for spring, bright citrus tones for summer, or classic white for an elegant, timeless look. Begin by carefully unfolding the lanterns and inserting their included wire supports. Then, to make them weather-safe, lightly spray them with a clear sealant. This step helps protect against moisture, dew, and gentle breezes. While they won't last through heavy storms, they'll hold up beautifully for weeks at a time, especially if you bring them in when rain is forecast. Next, place a battery-operated tea light or flameless candle inside each lantern. These little lights are safe, long-lasting, and require no cords or outlets. Some even come with timers, so they'll switch on at dusk and off after a few hours, perfect for hands-free enjoyment. Now comes the fun part: arranging them. Hang your lanterns at varying heights, from tree branches, pergola beams, or shepherd's hooks. Use invisible fishing line or twine to create a floating effect. If you have a porch ceiling, hang a few in the corners or over a dining area for instant atmosphere. Mixing sizes and staggering placement creates a natural flowing design that feels casual yet thoughtful. The glow they create isn't just light, it's mood. It's memory. It's the feeling of an outdoor dinner that stretches into the evening, or a quiet night spent with someone you love, wrapped in a blanket and shared silence. You can also cluster lanterns together in a corner of the garden to create a soft focal point, maybe over a bench beside a favorite plant or near a bubbling water feature. The effect is like stepping into a scene from a storybook. And if you like to change things up seasonally, simply swap out the colors. Soft pink and baby blue for springtime, sunflower yellow and coral for high summer, burnt orange and burgundy for fall. With just a few lanterns and a change of palette, your garden gets a fresh, new face. It's amazing how a few floating lights can make you feel like you've stepped into another world, a peaceful, welcoming one that you've built with your own hands. Because in the end, beauty doesn't always need to be planted. Sometimes it just needs to be hung in the air and allowed to glow. Summer evenings in the garden can feel like a dream. The golden light, the soft hum of birds settling down, the sweet scent of blooming flowers. But let's be honest, all it takes is one buzzing mosquito or a trail of ants to break that spell. Thankfully, you don't need harsh chemicals or pricey gadgets to reclaim your peace. With a few natural ingredients and decorative jars, you can make bug repellent stations that are both beautiful and effective. Start by choosing your containers. Small mason jars, jelly jars, or any pretty glass bowl from the Dollar Tree will work perfectly. This is your chance to add style as well as function. Go for rustic charm with twine and tinted glass, or keep it sleek with clear jars and minimal accents. Now let's fill them with nature's best defenders. Coffee grounds, for example, are a powerful repellent for slugs and some flying insects. Just scoop a few spoonfuls into your jar and set it near tender plants or outdoor seating areas. The smell is pleasant to us, but not to pests. Cinnamon is another star. A sprinkle in a jar helps deter ants, and its sweet scent adds warmth to your garden's atmosphere. You can even combine it with dried citrus peels for a double punch of repellent and fragrance. For crawling insects like beetles or earwigs, food-grade diatomaceous earth is a safe and natural solution. It's completely harmless to humans and pets, but disrupts the exoskeleton of unwanted bugs. Just fill a jar halfway and place it strategically near problem areas. Want to keep things looking tidy? Add a fabric or lace cover to each jar and secure it with twine or a ribbon. Poke a few holes in the top so the scent can escape while keeping things neat. This makes your bug repellent station feel more like a garden accessory than a science experiment. Arrange your jars in clusters around your favorite garden spots, by the swing near the flower beds, or around your evening dining table. They'll quietly do their job while blending beautifully into your outdoor decor. What makes this idea especially wonderful is that it doesn't just solve a problem, it does so gently. No sprays, no zapping sounds, just a quiet, natural balance that supports both your comfort and your garden's ecosystem. And like many of the best things we do in life, it's a reminder we don't need to fight hard to protect our peace. Sometimes just a few thoughtful touches, a sprinkle here, a scoop there, are enough to keep the beauty blooming undisturbed. Have you ever wandered around your garden looking for your gloves, or wondered where that favorite trowel disappeared to again? It's amazing how the smallest tools can hide so well, especially when your hands are full and your memory's busy with other things. That's why this next idea is so helpful: decorative storage buckets with simple custom dividers. They keep your tools right where you need them, neat, accessible, and easy to carry from bed to bed. And best of all, they're made from materials that cost just a few dollars. Start with a large plastic bucket from the Dollar Tree, the kind you might normally use for cleaning or storing toys. Choose one with a wide mouth and sturdy handles. Then grab a few pieces of PVC pipe or recycled cardboard tubes. These will become your dividers, holding your tools upright and separated so they're easy to grab. If you're using cardboard tubes, wrap them in plastic wrap or waterproof contact paper to make them more durable. Arrange them in a circle inside the bucket, securing them together with glue or zip ties. You can even add a taller section in the center for gloves or a small towel. Want to take it up a notch? Line the inside of the bucket with fabric, something cheerful and washable. Or give the outside a coat of spray paint in a color that complements your garden's soft sage sunflower yellow or a calming sky blue. A little stenciled label like My Garden Tools adds a personal touch and makes it feel like it came from a boutique, not a bargain aisle. Now load up your bucket, hand shovel, pruning shears, gloves, plant markers, a notepad for garden thoughts. Everything has its place, and everything's within reach. You can carry it with one hand, set it next to your chair as you work, or hang it from a hook near your garden shed. This kind of project is more than just functional. It's peaceful. It removes the little frustrations that distract us from the joy of being outside, and it gives you something to admire, even when you're just grabbing your gloves. For those with limited mobility, having tools organized and portable makes gardening easier and more enjoyable. No more bending or backtracking, just simplicity and flow. Because when our space is organized with care, our minds tend to follow. We slow down. We breathe deeper. We notice more. And all it took was a bucket, a few tubes, and a little thoughtfulness, turning clutter into calm and chaos into comfort. Some of the most delicate parts of a garden are the ones we care about. Most little seedlings just starting to stretch, herbs you've lovingly grown from cuttings, or that special plant you're trying to overwinter for the first time. And sometimes they need a bit of extra protection. That's where this idea comes in: clear plastic storage bins turned into protective plant cloches. It's one of the easiest and most affordable ways to shield your plants from wind, rain, or unexpected chills, all while letting the sunlight pour in. Begin with a few clear storage containers. Dollar Tree often carries them in different shapes and sizes, so you can choose based on the plant you want to cover. Look for ones with lids if you want to add extra protection, or go lidless for more airflow. Now take a small drill or screwdriver and create a few ventilation holes near the top edges. This allows heat to escape on warmer days and helps prevent condensation from building up inside. You don't need too many, just enough for a bit of fresh air to circulate. Next, gently place the bin upside down over your plant. The clear sides act like tiny greenhouses, trapping warmth and moisture while still allowing full light to reach your plant. You'll be surprised how well it works even on cooler spring mornings or breezy autumn afternoons. To keep the bin in place during windy days, you can weigh it down with a rock on top or use small stakes through the side handles. If you're using it on raised beds or patio planters, the flat base helps it sit securely without digging or heavy lifting. This little greenhouse effect is perfect for seed starting, reviving struggling plants, or protecting tender leaves from sudden cold snaps. It's especially helpful if you live in an area with unpredictable weather or just want to give your favorite plant babies a gentle start. For even more charm, you can decorate the outside with paint markers or weatherproof stickers, draw a little sun, a vine, or write the plant's name in curling script. It adds joy and makes your protective cloche feel like part of the garden rather than just a tool. And when you don't need them, these bins stack easily in a shed or corner of the porch, ready for next season. Lightweight, reusable, and versatile, a true gardener's friend. Because caring for your plants, like caring for yourself, sometimes means building a quiet shelter, a space to grow gently, protected from the harshest elements until you're strong enough to bloom on your own. If you've ever gone away for a few days or even just had a week of hot weather, you know the worry that comes with leaving your plants unattended. Will they get enough water? Will they wilt before you return? This next idea offers a simple and elegant solution. A self-watering system made from recycled plastic bottles and a bit of tubing. It's gentle, effective, and best of all, it waters your plants even when you can't. To begin, gather a few empty plastic bottles. Any size works, though 1 liter or 2 liter bottles offer longer hydration for larger plants. Rinse them thoroughly and remove any labels so you can see the water level inside. If you like things neat and pretty, go ahead and paint the bottles in a garden-friendly color or wrap them in twine for a more rustic look. Next, drill or poke a small hole in the bottle cap just large enough to fit flexible plastic tubing. You can find this tubing at the Dollar Tree hardware stores or online. Cut a piece of tubing about 12 to 18 inches long and insert it snugly into the hole. Seal around the opening with waterproof glue or silicone to prevent leaks. Fill the bottle with water, screw the cap back on, and gently bury the tube's open end near the root zone of your plant. If you're feeling fancy, you can also attach a cheap timer to regulate flow, but for most purposes, gravity and soil absorption do the trick just fine. When the soil begins to dry, it naturally pulls water through the tube, keeping roots consistently hydrated without overwatering. It's a smart little system, and once you've seen how well it works, you might want to set one up for every bed and pot. This method is especially helpful for seniors or anyone who finds frequent watering a bit tiring. It reduces strain, saves time, and gives your plants the kind of slow, steady care they love most. You can also customize the flow by adjusting the tube length or bottle height. For thirsty summer veggies like tomatoes or cucumbers, a larger bottle and deeper placement work best. For herbs and flowers, smaller setups will do. The cost under $2 per plant, and most of that is materials you may already have around the house. And the feeling peace of mind. Knowing your garden is cared for even when you're resting or away. Knowing your hands even when they're not actively digging or watering have still created something nurturing. Because part of gardening is learning to let go and let nature do her work with just a little help from you. Weeds have a way of creeping in, don't they? Just when everything starts to look lovely, those little invaders pop up stealing water space and your precious time. But instead of spending hours pulling and spraying, there's a peaceful, long-lasting solution, one that not only prevents weeds, but adds lasting beauty to your garden beds. Let's talk about creating a decorative permanent weed barrier using landscape fabric and colorful mulching alternatives. No back-breaking digging, no expensive materials, just a few thoughtful layers and a bit of creativity. Begin by clearing the area you want to protect. Remove any existing weeds or grass and smooth out the soil. Now roll out your landscape fabric available at most garden centers or even Dollar Tree during seasonal stock. Cut it to fit the area and be sure to overlap the edges by several inches. This prevents weeds from sneaking up between gaps. Use landscaping pins or long nails to anchor the fabric securely to the ground, paying extra attention to the edges. Then using scissors or a sharp knife, cut small X-shaped openings only where you plan to place plants. This allows your chosen blooms to shine while the surrounding area remains undisturbed and tidy. Now for the fun part, the top layer. Instead of traditional mulch, consider decorative options that last for years without fading or breaking down. You can use colorful gravel-painted wood chips or smooth river stones, even the faux versions you painted earlier. These alternatives don't decompose, which means they won't need constant replacing, saving money and time year after year. Color can be used to make your garden feel cohesive and styled. Soft gray stones for a calm, neutral look. Terracotta toned chips for warmth. Or mix shades of blue and white gravel for a seaside-inspired border. You can even create patterns, swirls, stripes, or color blocks for a truly custom appearance. Once complete, the result is not just practical, it's elegant. Your flower beds and pathways look well planned and clean. The plants have room to breathe and thrive, while the weeds are blocked out entirely. This type of project is perfect for seniors because it's a one-time effort with long-term rewards. No more constant maintenance, no more kneeling to pull weeds every few days. Just a peaceful, tidy space that stays looking lovely rain or shine. And like many things in life, it reminds us sometimes the best path forward is to put down a strong foundation, then let beauty grow on top of it. With a little fabric and a sprinkle of stone, you've given your garden a lasting gift, protection, elegance, and peace of mind. Old tires. Most of us think of them as trash, heavy, grimy, and forgotten. But what if I told you that with just a bit of scrubbing and a splash of paint, those very tires could become some of the boldest, longest-lasting planters in your entire garden? This project is a beautiful blend of upcycling and creativity, and it's especially perfect for those looking to create something sturdy, eye-catching, and kind to the planet. Start by finding a used tire or two. Maybe you've got one in the garage, or perhaps a neighbor does. If not, auto shops often give them away for free. happy to see them reused instead of sent to the landfill. Give the tires a good scrub with a strong brush and degreasing soap. Rinse them thoroughly and let them dry in the sun. This part takes a little elbow grease, but once it's done, the transformation begins. Now grab a can of primer made specifically for rubber or plastic surfaces. This helps the paint stick and last longer outdoors. Once primed, choose your paint color. Go bright with sunflower yellow or turquoise, or classic with deep forest green or white. Spray or brush on 2 coats for an even durable finish. Once your painted tire is dry, drill several drainage holes into the bottom if you plan to place it flat on the ground. Or if stacking multiple tires for height, place bricks or wood blocks between each layer to create airflow and allow drainage. You can use your tire planters in several ways. Ground-level garden beds for vegetables or wildflowers. Stacked tire towers for dramatic focal points. Hanging tire planters from a tree or fence planted with trailing blooms. Line the inside of each tire with a bit of landscape fabric if you want to hold in soil while still allowing water to pass through. Then fill with potting mix and add your favorite plants, bushy herbs, bold marigolds, or even strawberries and small peppers. The finished look is both playful and polished. And best of all, these planters last for years even through tough weather. Beyond their beauty, tire planters carry a deeper meaning. They remind us that nothing is too far gone to be useful again. That with a little care, something cast aside can become a vessel for life. Just like us, weathered maybe, but still strong, still vibrant, still full of potential. So if you've got an old tire and a little paint, go ahead and give it a second life. Turn that circle of rubber into a circle of growth, a planter, a statement, a quiet act of renewal. There's something enchanting about tiny things, miniature doorways, winding paths, and little worlds hidden in plain sight. And when life gives you a cracked flower pot, don't throw it away. Turn it into a fairy garden, a magical layered scene full of charm and wonder. This is one of the most joyful projects you can do with Dollar Tree finds and a broken terracotta pot. It's also surprisingly easy and absolutely soothing. Start with a pot that's cracked or chipped. In fact, the more imperfect, the better. It gives your fairy garden layers and natural walls to build into. If you don't have a broken pot already, you can create your own gently by wrapping it in a towel and tapping it with a hammer. Safety first, wear gloves and glasses. Next, begin layering the pot. Position the largest piece upright as the back wall of your design. Use medium and small fragments to create staggered levels or steps by placing them horizontally inside the pot. These serve as miniature terraces where you'll tuck in tiny plants or moss. Fill each level with potting soil. For greenery, choose low-growing miniature plants, baby's tears, small succulents, thyme, or even moss from a shaded corner of your yard. Their small scale makes them perfect for creating that miniature forest feel. Now comes the whimsy. Add Dollar Tree miniatures like tiny fences, fairy doors, or little animals. You can make your own accessories too, a pebble path, a twig bench, or a little ladder made from toothpicks. Anything that sparks the imagination. Don't forget the edges. Let ivy or trailing plants spill over the sides. Tuck a faux mushroom or painted rock into a corner. A little solar tea light on the lowest level adds a soft evening glow that makes your garden feel alive, even at dusk. Place your fairy garden somewhere visible near your entryway, on a patio table, or along a garden path. It becomes a conversation piece, a source of joy, and perhaps most importantly, a reminder that broken things can still be beautiful. This project costs almost nothing, just repurposed items, a few plants, and your imagination. But what it gives back is immeasurable. It's a tiny world you created with your own hands. A story told in soil and stone and small quiet touches. Because even in the cracks, perhaps, especially in the cracks, there's magic waiting to bloom. And sometimes it's in the tiniest garden that we feel the most wonder. There's something deeply satisfying about drawing a line not to divide, but to define. In a garden, a border does just that. It frames your space, gives it structure, and gently says, "This part is loved." And with a few old glass bottles, you can create a border that's not only functional, but absolutely dazzling, especially when the sun shines through. This DIY idea is a wonderful way to repurpose what would otherwise be tossed or recycled. Glass soda bottles, wine bottles, or even colored vinegar bottles all work beautifully. The more varied the colors, greens, blues, ambers, the more magical the result. Start by removing any labels and sticky residue from the bottles. Soak them in warm, soapy water and scrub them clean. If the edges of the glass feel rough or jagged, use a file or sandpaper to smooth them just enough to make them safe to handle. To create your border, dig a shallow trench along the edge of your garden bed or walkway, just deep enough to bury 1/3 of each bottle. Place the bottles upside down, neck first, into the soil, leaving 2/3 of each bottle exposed. Press them in snugly, side by side, forming a gentle wave or curve, or keep them in a straight line for a cleaner look. You'll be amazed how the sunlight interacts with the glass throughout the day. Morning light filters through with a soft gleam, while evening sun turns the bottles into glowing jewels. The effect is peaceful and elegant, like stained glass in a cathedral of flowers. To ensure stability, pack soil firmly around the base of each bottle. For extra security in high-traffic areas, you can also add a small layer of pebbles or mulch along the inside edge to support them further. And while it's stunning, this border also serves a purpose. It keeps mulch from spilling, defines planting areas, and gently guides guests through your garden paths without any harsh lines or plastic edging. The cost? Next to nothing, especially if you gather bottles from your own kitchen or ask friends and neighbors to save theirs. It's one of the most affordable ways to create a designer look. But perhaps what's most special is the feeling it brings. Every bottle tells a story, a family dinner, a celebration, a quiet evening on the porch. And now, instead of being discarded, those little moments line your garden with memory and meaning. Because the most beautiful borders in life aren't about keeping things out, they're about honoring what's within. Let's take a walk into your kitchen, not the garden shed, not the craft room, the kitchen. Because right there in your pantry or recycle bin, you may already have the makings of your next set of beautiful, one-of-a-kind planters. Those empty coffee cans, soup containers, and yogurt tubs. They're not trash. They're a canvas. And with just a little paint and imagination, they can become charming plant homes that look like they came straight out of a garden catalog. Start by selecting a few sturdy containers. Plastic coffee tubs are ideal for medium-sized plants, while smaller cans work well for herbs or succulents. Clean them thoroughly and remove any labels. If there's leftover adhesive, a little rubbing alcohol or warm vinegar does wonders. Next, you'll want to create drainage. Use a screwdriver or nail to poke 3-5 small holes in the bottom of each container. This is essential. Your plants will thank you for it. Now for the transformation. Choose outdoor-friendly paint. Spray paint works beautifully, especially those labeled for plastic surfaces. If you prefer to brush, look for acrylic or latex paints made for outdoor use. Pick a color palette that speaks to you. You might go with classic white and sage green for a calming look, or deep navy and gold for a more modern, elegant style. Soft pastels, warm terracottas, bold jewel tones. The options are endless. Once dry, you can add accents. Try stenciling a floral pattern or simple garden words like basil grow or home. Use weatherproof markers or outdoor vinyl stickers for personal touches. Want a cohesive look across your patio? Paint all the containers in a similar tone but vary their sizes and shapes. Or keep things eclectic with different colors tied together by one repeated detail like twine wrapped around the tops or matching plant tags. Arrange your painted planters in clusters of 3 or 5 on an old bench, a stair step, or nestled along the edge of a walkway. Fill them with colorful annuals, kitchen herbs, or even small perennials that will return next year. These upcycled planters not only save money, they save space, reduce waste, and add your signature style to every corner of the garden. And they're light enough to move as needed, making them perfect for porches, balconies, or raised beds. What's most beautiful, though, is what they represent: the idea that beauty isn't found in what we buy, but in what we create. A planter doesn't need to be expensive to be full of life. Just like us, it only needs to be seen for its potential. There's a quiet romance to things that have aged with you. An old wooden ladder, for example. Maybe it once held paint cans or leaned against the back of a shed. But now it has a chance to bloom again, not with climbing chores, but with cascading flowers. Turning an old ladder into a vertical plant display is one of the most charming ways to add height, character, and a bit of rustic soul to your garden. And the best part, it requires no building, no bending, and no fancy tools, just vision and care. Start with any wooden ladder. It can be a full-size one or even a short step ladder. If it's weathered, all the better. The chipped paint and soft grain tell a story. But do check for splinters or loose nails. Sand down any rough spots and remove old screws for safety. Next, choose a finish. You can leave it as is for a raw farmhouse look, or give it a coat of outdoor paint or stain. Soft gray, deep green, or whitewashed finishes work beautifully in garden settings. Don't worry about perfection, embrace the imperfections. They add charm. Now comes the fun, the plants. Use the rungs and steps as shelves for your pots. Start with smaller pots near the top and gradually increase the size toward the bottom to create visual balance. Mix trailing plants like ivy sweet potato vine or creeping jenny with upright varieties like geraniums, coleus, or lavender. This creates a full layered effect that draws the eye upward. For added variety, hang small buckets or baskets from the sides using hooks or twine. You can even weave fairy lights around the frame for a soft glow in the evening, or drape a strand of faux greenery to add fullness year-round. Place your ladder against a wall fence, or use it freestanding in an A-frame for double-sided beauty. It's perfect for patios, balconies, or small spaces where horizontal planting room is limited. The beauty of this project isn't just in how it looks, it's in how it feels. Like a second chance. Like repurposing something from your past and turning it into something that grows. It reminds us that nothing is ever too old to be useful again. That age isn't an end, it's an evolution. And when neighbors pass by and pause to admire your ladder garden, you'll know that old tool once tucked away and forgotten is now a living display of color, of memory, of your creative heart. Because the best gardens don't just grow plants, they grow stories. Space is a gift, but for many of us, it's in short supply. Maybe you have a small patio, a narrow fence line, or just a tiny balcony. Still, that doesn't mean you can't grow something lush and full of life. All you need is a vertical surface and a little imagination. Enter the hanging pocket garden created from a simple over-the-door shoe organizer. This idea transforms an everyday item into a flourishing wall of greenery, herbs, and flowers. And the best part, it's completely accessible, senior-friendly, and wonderfully easy to care for. Start by picking up a fabric shoe organizer from Dollar Tree or your local discount store. Choose one made of breathable material like canvas or mesh, not plastic, which can trap too much moisture. You'll want something that can hang flat against a wall or fence and hold several rows of pockets. Now prepare your pockets for planting. Line each one with a small piece of landscape fabric or coffee filters to keep the soil in, while allowing water to drain. Then fill each pocket with potting mix, pressing it down gently. Choose plants that thrive in tight spaces. Herbs are ideal: parsley, basil, thyme, oregano, all happy in their own little pocket. Succulents work beautifully too, needing minimal water and maintenance. For color, add trailing flowers like petunias or lobelia, or cheerful compact blooms like pansies and marigolds. Mount your organizer securely to a fence railing or wall. Make sure it's in a spot that gets the right amount of sun for your plant choices. You can even hang it from a sturdy shepherd's hook using S-hooks and twine. Want to make watering easier? Use a drip irrigation hack. Take a length of clear plastic tubing, poke small holes along the line, and run it across the top of the organizer. Attach it to a small pump or watering can with a spout, and let gravity do the rest. As your pocket garden fills in, you'll be amazed at the transformation. What was once a blank vertical space now becomes a living tapestry, a wall of color, texture, and scent. This kind of gardening is especially helpful for those with mobility concerns. Everything is at eye level. No bending, no kneeling, no heavy pots to lift. Just step outside, snip some rosemary, or admire a bloom right within reach. And it's a gentle reminder too that even the smallest space can become a sanctuary. That life doesn't need a wide plot to thrive. Sometimes all it needs is a place to take root, and someone like you to give it a home. There's a stillness that only water can bring to a garden. It reflects the sky, draws in birds and dragonflies, and adds a soft sound that seems to hush the world. And guess what? You don't need a shovel, a pump system, or a large yard to have one. With just a wide container, a few aquatic plants, and a touch of creativity, you can create your very own mini pond right on your patio. Start with a large watertight container. A plastic storage bin, a galvanized tub, or even a ceramic bowl will do as long as it's at least 12 inches deep and 18 inches wide. If you want a more polished look, try spray painting the outside in a garden-friendly color like slate gray or moss green. Place your container in a spot that gets partial sun. Too much heat can cause algae, while too little sunlight can limit plant growth. Now it's time to add life. Start with water lilies or lotus, which float gently across the surface and bloom in spectacular color. These come in many varieties, perfect for small containers. Next, add submerged plants like hornwort or anacharis. They oxygenate the water and keep it clean. For surface interest, add floating plants like duckweed or water lettuce, which help provide shade and reduce algae. To finish your pond's ecosystem, consider adding a few goldfish or guppies. They eat mosquito larvae and bring delightful movement to your little water world. Be sure your container doesn't overheat and has enough space for them to thrive. If adding fish, avoid direct sun and keep water levels stable. Want some sparkle at night? Tuck in a solar floating light or submersible waterproof LED. As the light bounces off the water's surface, your little pond turns into a glowing jewel at dusk. You can edge the pond with smooth stones or tuck it into a larger container filled with ferns or grasses for a layered look. Add a small fountain pump if you'd like to hear the gentle trickle of water, soothing, serene, and incredibly peaceful. This mini pond offers more than just beauty. It invites pause, a place to sit and reflect, to watch ripples move with the breeze, to feel even in the smallest corner that nature is close, alive, and gently flowing. And all of it, dear friend, created with your own two hands. Because you don't need a grand yard or endless time to build something extraordinary. You just need a container, a little water, and the willingness to bring something gentle to life. As the seasons change, so does the mood of your garden. Spring brings softness, summer bursts with color, autumn glows in gold, and winter whispers in silver and green. But changing your garden decor every few months can be expensive and exhausting unless you plan ahead with a seasonal swap system. This idea isn't just a DIY project. It's a way of organizing beauty year-round in a way that's gentle on your budget, your storage space, and your energy. Start by gathering a few modular decor elements. Think of things like planter wraps, lantern inserts, faux floral garlands, wind chimes, and garden signs. Choose items that can be easily changed out or refreshed. Dollar Tree is full of seasonal trimmings, and you can build your collection slowly over time, spending just a few dollars each season. Now, designate a set of clear weatherproof storage bins, one for each season. Label them clearly: spring, summer, autumn, winter. Inside, tuck your seasonal items, pastel ribbons and butterflies; for spring, bright sunflowers and bold fabrics; for summer, warm-toned leaves and mini pumpkins; for fall, snowflakes and evergreen garlands; for winter. If you're using fabric wraps for hanging baskets or chair cushions, simply change the outer covers each season. For garden stakes or signs, use one frame and rotate the inserts like a welcome sign that changes its centerpiece to match the time of year. Store extra faux flowers wreaths and colored LED candles in these bins as well. Everything stays clean, dry, and ready for the next swap. Here's the magic of this system. Once it's set up, you never have to start over. When the new season arrives, just bring out your box swap in a few items and pack the others away. The entire process takes less than an hour. No heavy lifting, no shopping spree, no waste. And your garden, it stays fresh, alive, reflective of the world outside your door. This gentle rhythm of rotating decorations also brings emotional comfort. It marks time in a beautiful way. You're not just decorating, you're celebrating the seasons of life. And over time, you'll build a collection of little treasures, each with its own memory. That ribbon you used when your granddaughter visited in the spring. The lanterns from last summer's barbecue. The faux pine cones that lined your porch through December. For around $50 total investment spread across the year, you'll have a year-round rotation that keeps your outdoor space evolving without needing to constantly spend or reinvent. Because beauty isn't about newness, it's about thoughtfulness. And when you give your garden a seasonal wardrobe, you give it and yourself something to look forward to again and again. We all need a place to retreat, a little corner of the world that feels like ours and ours alone. A space not just to plant, but to breathe, to sit without rush, to remember ourselves. That's what a secret garden hideaway is all about. And it doesn't require a large backyard, a big budget, or any kind of construction. All you need is a bit of privacy, a few comforting touches, and a sprinkle of intention. Start by choosing your spot. Maybe it's a quiet corner behind the shed, a side yard that doesn't get much attention, or even a small patio that could use a touch of magic. The goal is to create the feeling of enclosure, not to wall yourself in, but to create a hug of space. Use lattice panels, bamboo fencing, or even curtains made from Dollar Tree fabric to section off your space. These can be mounted to an existing fence hung from shepherd's hooks or attached to wooden stakes pressed into the soil. Fabric panels gently swaying in the breeze instantly add softness and a sense of separation from the world beyond. Next, add seating. You don't need to buy new furniture. Try repurposing a thrifted wooden chair or bench. Paint it in a calming color like sage green, robin's egg blue, or warm cream. Add a few cushions, a cozy throw, or even a small outdoor rug for grounding. Layer in soft string lights, paper lanterns, or solar path lights. These don't just light the space, they set the tone, like stars gathering above your own private retreat. Now for the soul of the hideaway, plants and scent. Surround the space with pots or hanging baskets of fragrant flowers. Lavender, jasmine, gardenia, mint. Let vines trail from baskets or climb gently up your lattice panels. Tuck in planters at different heights for depth. Include a small side table with a candle, a cup of tea, or a favorite book. If you want sound, add a small wind chime or a solar-powered fountain bowl. Even the quietest bubbling water can soften the mind and ease tension in the body. This secret garden hideaway isn't about impressing anyone. It's about reclaiming a corner of your world for rest, for reflection, for simply being. You don't need permission to rest, dear friend, and you don't need a big space to feel peace. With a few thrifted finds, a little fabric, and your tender hands, you've created more than a garden feature. You've created sanctuary. Somewhere to go when the day has been long, somewhere to breathe when the world feels heavy. Somewhere that reminds you that you deserve beauty, stillness, and joy, not someday, but now. And now, dear friend, we've come to the end of our gentle stroll together. 30 ideas, 30 tiny, joyful sparks of creativity. Each one made not from wealth or perfection, but from things most people overlook: old bottles, chipped pots, a forgotten ladder, a plastic spoon. Isn't it something how the smallest, simplest things, a ribbon, a light, a bit of twine, can transform not just a space, but a state of mind? Your garden doesn't need to look like anyone else's. It doesn't need to be grand or flawless or expensive. What it needs, what it truly craves, is care, intention, a little bit of imagination, and a lot of heart. Each DIY we've shared today is a whisper of possibility, an invitation to create not just beauty, but meaning. To look at something worn or overlooked and say, you're still useful, still beautiful, still part of something, just like us. Because the truth is, these small projects aren't only about garden decor. They're about you. They're about reclaiming joy, reclaiming resourcefulness, about showing yourself and the world that creativity doesn't fade with age. If anything, it deepens. Your hands, though they may be slower, are wiser now. Your eyes know how to spot potential in a piece of scrap, how to see the soul in a rusty chair or a chipped teacup. You're not just gardening, you're storytelling. With every bottle border, every fairy lantern, every stepping stone made from broken bits, you're saying, there is beauty in this life. Still. And it doesn't take money, it doesn't take youth, it just takes you. So I ask, which idea spoke to you today? Was it the magical floating flowers, the ladder blooming with cascading vines, the glowing globes hidden among your roses? Whichever one it was, start there. This weekend, or even this afternoon. And when you do, I hope you feel what I felt while writing this for you: a quiet pride, a sense of renewal, the warm hum of yes, I made this and it matters. If you'd like more gentle inspiration like this, I invite you to subscribe. I'll be right here offering new ways to turn thrift into treasure, to turn scraps into serenity, and to turn the ordinary into something quietly extraordinary. Until then, take care of your garden and take care of yourself. Your hands still create beauty. Your time still holds joy. Your story is still blooming. Until next time, happy gardening, dear friend.